Hey, it's Clark with the Down South IT podcast. And if you read the description, yes, this video is going to be telling you how to create a brand new retro gaming console out of a Raspberry Pi. But before we get to that, I do want to go through the stuff that you're going to need for all of this. So, first off, of course, we're going to need an actual Raspberry Pi. This one happens to be a Raspberry Pi 3B Plus. So as you can see, it has the Ethernet jack, the USB ports, the GPIO pins, HDMI out, audio out, and micro USB power adapter. And the only bad thing with these is when you get a Pi, they don't come with a power adapter. So you're going to have to get the power adapter separately. And the trick is, you have to get one that puts out at least 2.5 amps. So it has to be at least 2.5 amps, at least for this model for sure. Otherwise, it doesn't have enough power to run everything. So in the case of this one, there was actually a kit that I got, and I'll get to it in just a minute, but we'll go through. And the other things you're going to need, this just happens to be an external SD card writer, and it just hooks up USB as normal. You're going to need a keyboard and a mouse. It's got to be USB. Now this one happens to be wireless. Yours doesn't have to be, but it can be if you wanted to. It's not a big deal. So you're going to need that. You're going to need the Pi itself. You're going to need the SD card and the adapter if you happen to have one, or if you need one for your SD card reader. This one I need the adapter, so that's why I went ahead and have this on here too. We're going to get to the part of the video where we go through putting the operating system on the SD card here in a minute. But other than that, we're going to need a few other things. First being the power supply. This one right here is one I got off of Amazon. It came in a kit with a case, which the case is not a necessity, but it is highly recommended, just for the mere fact of if you're going to be moving it or anything like that. And this one actually has the added benefit of having a fan in it. So not only the fan, but it does have heat sinks also to go over the main chips of the board, keep everything nice and cool. And it does actually come with a screwdriver to help you put it all together. So it was the case, the heat sinks, and the power supply. That was all actually only $14 on Amazon. So you can do that. And also, you're going to need a couple of game controllers. These again are wireless. You could do any USB controllers that you want. These happen to be in the style for the Super Nintendo. They do have them for PlayStation, N64, a few others. You just got to kind of poke around and look. These actually were $28 for the pair, but mostly what I saw was anywhere from 15 to 20 per controller. And if you're going to need more than one, just know that they're going to be about 15 to 20 bucks a piece. This right here, I actually don't know how much this was. I bought it a long time ago. But if you have one already built into your laptop or your desktop, you can use it. The SD card that I got, this was $11. Yeah, $11. And that's actually a 64 gig card. And the Raspberry Pi itself was $36. So all told, everything you see minus the SD card reader and the keyboard, because I bought that earlier too. That was actually 28 bucks, but minus the keyboard and the SD card reader, everything for this build that we're going to be using was less than $90. It was actually 88 bucks and change. So from there, now we'll go ahead and start building everything. We'll do the first part of the video. I do apologize in advance for the quality of the audio on the computer part, because for some reason it just, when it recorded, it was terrible. But you can make most of it out, but just be prepared, the audio is horrible. So we'll get to that in here in just a minute, and we'll go through how to flash the OS on your SD card. All right, thanks. Died whenever I was changing formats, so now I'm having to overdub. So hopefully it's not quite as bad as it was before. What you're going to do is you want to go to retropie.org.uk and go to download. And I have it for the Pi 0 and 1 and 2 and 3 right here next to each other. So just pick the one for the Pi that you have. We're using the 3B Plus, so we go with this one. And I'm going to go ahead and save it to the desktop just to make things a little bit easier on myself. And this is a 170 some odd meg file, so it does take a minute to download. And while that's finishing downloading, we can go ahead and start up Balena Etcher. That's the software we're going to use to actually flash the image file to the SD card. As soon as it decides to come up. Download's just about to finish though. Okay, so this is Balena Etcher. And basically, you're going to just pick the image in the first section. So we're going to actually just pick the zip file that we just downloaded. Now that it's nice and handy right there on the desktop. And I'm going to actually go ahead and plug in the SD card also while I'm here. We'll go back to the desktop and pick the image that we just downloaded for RetroPie. Actually, we're going to go ahead and format right quick the SD card. It doesn't need a volume. You could if you want, but you really don't need one if you don't want. Format's complete. And now we get into the actual flash process. We go to the desktop and select the image that we just downloaded. Now we pick the drive that we're going to use, that's the G drive right there from the USB.
and click flash, and that's it. Normally it doesn't take very long to do. It should only take 6 to 8 minutes. I did fast forward this video a little bit, so that's the average time, between 6 and 8 minutes. But once it's finished flashing, then you just put the SD card into the Pi itself and start her up. And we'll go through the first boot on the next part of the video.
We got the SD card flashed with the OS. I went ahead and put the Pi into the case. You can tell it's a nice little black clear acrylic. And it's actually got heat sinks for the main chips of it also. So nice little case, not too bad for 14 bucks. So got everything hooked up. We got our SD card right here in the bottom on the back. So it just slides in right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get it hooked up to my monitor up in the office, and we'll power it on for the first time. All right, well, we'll go ahead and plug this thing up and let's see what she does. And actually thinking about it, I'll probably have to change the source on my monitor. There we go. She boots. Okay, we went through a little bit of a loading screen there, but okay, hold the button on your device to configure it. I don't have either one of the controllers hooked up yet. I'm gonna go grab one and we'll keep going. Okay, got the controller hooked up. Let's see what she does. Alright, so from here we get to configure our gamepad. So this will be number 1. So we go up on the directional pad, down, left, right, start, select, A button, B button, X button, Y, left shoulder, right shoulder. Do not have a left or right trigger. So those will go onto there, and also well, we may have to do hold any button to skip. We'll skip. Skip again. We don't have analogs. We don't have the thumbsticks, so we'll keep going those down. Just keep holding till we get to the next one. And we don't have a hotkey on here either. So Okay, so if we don't select the hotkey to go back out to the menu, it asks, do you want to set select as the hotkey as default? And basically you can just say yes. Okay. And from here, you can choose several different things. File manager. You config, since this is actually based on Raspberry Pi's. I believe it's Jesse, the last version of it. So we can do different things. There's also, you can hook it into Wi-Fi. Okay, so first thing you want to set up your language and your regional options. And we're going to set up locale to be we're going to back out of there. They have so many of these. Alright. I'll pause the video until I find the right one. Okay, so I found the menu, got it set to Central Time, which is where I am in the US. And now we're going to go ahead and set up network options, that we can get it on Wi-Fi. And again, we got to go through all the countries. And this would have been so much faster with a keyboard, but the keyboard doesn't work. Oh, I'm sorry this is taking so long. Alright, United States. There we go. Okay, now I might be able to actually use the keyboard. Okay, and just so nobody hacks my Wi-Fi, I'm gonna just turn you just a little bit, just so we do that. All right. Usually once you get everything set up with Wi-Fi, it's good to go ahead and get it updated. That way it'll pull the most recent versions of everything, all the emulators and all. As you can see at the bottom on the left hand side, it's starting to pull a couple of different archives. So okay, it looks like it may be about a 15-minute, well, 3-minute buzz until this is finished updating. So I'll pause it, and whenever it finishes updating, I'll bring y'all back. Okay, we're done. We're updated. Now we're going to go ahead and exit out of here, which we want to just let's see if we can get out of here. Okay. Go ahead and exit. So now we're back at the RetroPie. And let's see. We want to jump to let's jump back and go all the way to the back. Let's go all the way to the beginning. Exit out of that. Back. Okay, and with this, and we want to get out of here. Okay, so we want to get back, and with at this point, this is where you want to put your ROMs onto your Raspberry Pi. You can go through, there's a couple of tutorials on their site how to do it over Wi-Fi if you want to do it that way. The easiest thing is just to do it with a USB flash drive. So that's what we're going to do. And being that ROMs are the intellectual property of most games, I can't just tell you where to go get it. But they're fairly easy to find online if you want to go get one. So this is how you do it. Basically, we're going to go ahead, and this is actually the USB drive here. Doesn't have anything in it. I'm going to create a folder called RetroPie. Once we create that folder, I'm going to pull the drive. I'm just dropping all kinds of stuff. And you plug the drive into one of the USB ports. And according to their website, you do it until it stops blinking. So maybe just a minute. And what it's actually doing is it's creating the different folders that you're going to put the ROMs back into. So we're still blinking. Anyway, it just went solid there for a second, but now it's still blinking. Okay, there we go. I think we're good. So now you can pull it out of the Pi. And back into the PC. And just for this purpose, we're just going to move over one ROM. Okay, back into the ROMs, and this is all the different folders for all the different emulators that it has. And the one that I picked was one from the regular Nintendo, the NES, so we're going to copy that into that folder. And once that copies, or all the ones that you have, you copy, however many you have, then we plug it back into the Pi. And again, once it starts with that, once it stops blinking, go into the configuration again. And I would assume it's probably going to be under setup. Okay, and you come down here to reboot. And that's what we want to do. We want to do a reboot. Yes. and it take very little time to actually reboot. Okay, and now that we had one game available for the Nintendo, we can go into it, and there it is, Mega Man. So now we go ahead and we can try to play it. There it is. I may have to play with the audio options to get the audio to come through, but it looks pretty good to me. Now granted, I kind of suck at this, but hey, it's playing, and that's what counts. So there you go, guys. And if you want to back out to the main screen, hit select. That's your hotkey. Okay, apparently select is the actual that one's not working for some reason. That's the pause button. So I have to play around with it, but hey, it works. So that's how you do it, guys. Thanks for watching. This has been Clark with the Down South IT Podcast. Thank you for watching.